Hi there, you're at the APTOS Wyckoff technical analysis session, and we'll quickly take a look at where APT is in terms of Wyckoff stages, as well as whether it's going to its third sign of strength, or is it anything that comes even better. So here, looking at the weekly chart, previously we've got two signs of strength already. They were a little bit lower than the automatic rally, but close enough I consider them sign of strength. They were back in mid-May and mid-July. And now, the price over the past few weeks has still been trading under the red key level of $4.80. However, the past 2 weeks, this week and last week, seems to have found support, and you see these pretty flat body over here, right? This flat line over here. That seems to be a solid foundation at around $4.68. That may be a good sign for the bullish minds or the bull steam. One more thing is it is looking to be having higher lows, so that's another positive sign for the bulls. And these are just the basics. There's one thing in addition as well, actually two things. The first one is here, this bullish flag, according to candlestick analysis textbook teaching. This is even though it's not a very steep slope, it is still a bull flag, meaning the price will eventually break to the upside. So I mentioned multiple indications. I just want to add one more. This Bollinger Band corner squeeze that I shared in many other sessions. So whenever these purple staircase-like lines got into the orange, these mover curves, that means a squeeze has happened. When a squeeze happens, that means there's some force building up that's going to push the price with a bigger move. Sometimes it's going to the downside, but sometimes it indicates that it's going to get up. So my personal observation is when the price is at the lower half of the channels, you see these stars in the middle, that's the center line, right? And also this orange as well, there's also a center line. When it's at the lower half, usually it's got pushed to the upside, while if it's at the upper half, it's usually got pushed to the other side. So that's how I usually observe this happening within this squeeze. So as of now, a squeeze has been happening for 12 bars, meaning 12 weeks, 84 days in total, so almost 3 months now. And it looks to me any time from now that bigger price move would happen. So let me switch off this and switch back on the Wyckoff. So if it really happens, or the bull flag, the Bollinger Band corner squeeze, as well as the higher lows, all pointing to the fact that a bigger price move is imminent. And if it is really towards the downside, either APTOS as a project is going to lose all its support because that's lower than the low point back in late or end 2022. That's the bottom. We are at that range already, so I see the likelihood of that lower if APTOS as a project is still going healthily with sufficient community support and also developer support. If you have been following APTOS news and consider the news are still positive, the project is still going on with a lot of adoptions, then that's when the price would eventually go up. And that's the big picture view, meaning a big price move is imminent. It's just, so you may ask, so what, any indication of when? I'm trying to draw this. It may not be the only way, but at least it's getting into a pennant if you look at the candlestick patterns. So the tip of the pennant is around mid-September. So anytime from now, basically in 3 weeks-ish time, it's getting to this very tip, and a decision has to be made, meaning a breakout should happen by then, going to the direction that it has been built up for by the whales. So 2 weeks later, we'll come back to APTOS. That by then, probably the breakout would have happened. And of course, the first stage, we hope to see at least a level at the sign of strength, whether it would become a third sign of strength and return to consolidate and show some build up or backup, and last point of support, and eventually break above the orange key level of $6.18. Only time can tell, but from now till mid-September, we should be able to see some move. So that's the macro, and going to the micro, the daily chart. Bollinger Band current squeeze also shows a squeeze is happening. So both weekly and daily combined, showing a price move, bigger price move is near. Let me take out these trend boxes because they are not relevant anymore. I just keep the most recent ones. So previously we've got a spring is a test basically towards the downside to check out those weaker hands, let's put it this way, mid-June, and then there was another test back in early August. This later in the month, just a week or so ago, a few days back, is a shallower test. So that's why we're seeing higher and higher lows. So that's a good sign, even though it's a bit gradual, it's still a positive sign that it seems the bottom is building up, and a spring is not the spring, but like those you always see the mimi sound like dongyeo, that kind of spring going to happen. So hopefully that's really the case, and the price is going to go past the 4.80 key level and challenge the 618, eventually 810, and show us a buying climax. So in the daily time frame, the buying climax may be at a different level compared to the weekly, because this has been gathering momentum for so long, and it may take a first leg out to, let me shut this, to the PSY, where there may be some fluctuations. So in the daily chart, that may be the buying climax. This over here may be the buying climax, and then return for an automatic reaction in the daily, and then this leg up would be the up thrust for the daily chart. So in the weekly, it's PSY and buying climax only. So I'm trying to explain, if you're new to this double level of Wyckoff analysis. So both are pointing towards the upside, and hopefully, like I said, it's going to happen sometime between now and mid-September. So if I extend this higher low support line, it can play all the way till November, but I already mentioned it's not going to play that long. A lot of times the breakout will happen way before this tip. So this ascending triangle is something that we can take reference as well. So I think I've covered everything for APTOS, and if I've missed anything, and if you have your views to share where APTOS is going, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks.